Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. I have a return guest on. I have Marineka Bowman. Now, she was last on the podcast, season 3, episode 184, which was December 18th of 2022, where she updated us with her daughter's song and the effects judges and attorneys are having on her child. She was last on the podcast, season 3, episodes 104, 131, 159, 160, and 174. And prior to that, we had talked about what took place during an emergency ex parte motion on December 5th. But now we're going to talk about the unjust decision of Delaware Family Court Judge Natalie Haskins. And we're going to keep it in the spotlight, especially when a child is involved and child abuse. I welcome you back to the podcast, Marineka Bowman. How are you this morning?
I am great, Marianne. I am great. I'm blessed, I must say. Like my pastor said, it's all is well with my soul. You know, when you have God, when you have the assurance of God, all is well. All is well. You know, even though I'm missing my daughter and her baby is here with me, one of them, one of the many babies, and her favorite squirrel. One. I sleep with them. Yeah, they sleep with me. She said, see, she have a little bandage. She said, Mommy, take care of her till I come back. So I'm making sure I take good care of this baby because she's gonna be back. I am gonna tell you this this case, because this is my only child. And I know you had told me one time, you said, even though I don't want to be an advocate, advocacy chose me. And advocacy did choose me with this case. It did. It sure did. And I think it strengthened me more. It bring out that inner strength that I thought that I never had or would have at all. And I know one of the main things that I really had to do, at least to get myself together and get my mind right, is to forgive so the healing process could begin for me. Because when you have a lot of unforgiveness and bitterness for injustice, it weighs on you. It gives you blood pressure. It gives you cancer, heart attack, pain in your body. You can't focus. It clouds your judgment, and so forth and so forth, you know? So it's very good to forgive. And I'm glad that I'm there. And I could not get here without the help of my family. Again, I cannot commend them enough. And a great church organization that I recently joined, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I am telling you, the members there, especially the women's ministry, had embraced me. Oh, and they're very awesome. They're very supportive. The church on a whole is very, very supportive of me. And I'm telling you, they're praying near and far. Churches, even as far as Costa Rica, the Seventh-day Adventist members, as far as Costa Rica, they're all praying for my child. They're all praying for me. And actually, we just had a great 10 days of prayers, encouraging women. It's just women from all across the world. Standing without shame, standing fearless, standing strong, standing bold. And I think, some other topics. I said I'm going to get it to you when they finish editing it. I will send it over because I think that's a great tool to share with both mothers and fathers, even though it was just mainly women was praying. You could share with your share with the platform, because I know a lot of people that something could help people in this case. The reason why, I want to keep this case in the spotlight, because a lot of injustice was done. A lot of unjust and unfair decision was made in this case. And a child is involved. Yes, a child is involved. And when children is involved, you have to be very delicate. in how you deal with them, because there's a lot of emotions, the emotions that we can handle as an adult, and sometimes we as adults cannot handle a lot of those things that is being thrown at us, much less a 2-year or 3-year or 4-year or 5-year-old child. My child she's going to be 6 this year. She's been ripped away from me for me to visit her 2 days a week for an hour, when this child was with me from from birth till all of this roller coaster start going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you just ripped her away. You not only ripped her away from me, you ripped her away from an entire family that loves and care for her. People know that you cannot talk to her because the father, even before this case me to this juncture, he had stopped all phone calls, even though we had agreed for 2 days a week for me to communicate with her by phone through the co-parenting class. He had stopped that since last year.
Hey, Mary, let me ask you this. Okay, so you were going to co-parent class, and he stops these phone calls. How come the co-parent counselor did not notify Judge Haskins?
The co-parenting counselor is the one who set up the phone calls, because the judge Natalie Haskins never set up, she never ordered for us to have, for me to have phone calls with my child.
See, but I think the co-parent counselor.
So he thought that was crazy that she didn't do that, and he had us come up with 2 days. But because I think the father, he felt because it wasn't court ordered, he can get away with it. However, remember, Marianne, there's court orders, holidays and stuff that both him and his attorney, Laura Brooks, wasn't following. You remember she canceled last year. The only holiday that I had for last year was Halloween. Remember, Laura Brooks canceled my Mother's Day. She canceled one of my week's visitation. She canceled, and like 2 other holidays that I had for last year. She canceled all those holidays. And when I asked the last attorney that I had, I said, is any attorney have the right to cancel a court order visit? She was hesitant, but she turned around and said, no, once a judge ordered it, you cannot cancel it. So, but not what Natalie Haskins is going to do. However, let me tell you about Natalie Haskins, because she was playing a game too. Because when I brought up in one of my complaints that my Mother's Day, my week was canceled, she said, oh, she don't want to do Mother's Day fall in May. She don't want to deal with anything beyond we went to court last year, June. She don't want anything to do with before June 1st going backwards. That means she was not going to address the Mother's Day. She was not that was canceled. She was not going to address the other visitation that was canceled. She just want to move forward from June, I think was 25th or 24th, whatever it is. She just want to address those dates moving forward. So that's the game Natalie Haskins was playing, because when she know that Laura Brooks violated the order, she don't want to deal with that. She don't want to deal with the case within that time frame. She pick and choose what time frame she wanted to deal with stuff, right? Even when I talk about it, when they contempt me to court contempt me the year before, right? She already ordered for us the documents to be, the mental health evaluation to be produced to the court on the 1st, and she had me in court March 25th of 2022 for contempt for the same documents that due in April. So Natalie Haskins of herself was not following anything, right? She was not following what she's writing. She was not following her notes. It's just behoove me. That's why we have to keep this case in the spotlight. We have to keep it in the spotlight.
So she's ordering stuff but not filing it.
Correct. She's not following it. Laura Brooks was not following it. Natalie Haskins was not following it. Yes, they was not following it. So now you take my child from me based on the foolishness that, the no grounds for you taking my child because I came on a podcast. That's my amendment rights. That's freedom of speech. So if everybody who talk about somebody, whether you're going to punish them, you're going to take the children, then being if everybody talk about people, then everybody children should be taken away from them, right? Everybody child should be taken away from them. But you did this and you're not thinking about how you're affecting my child emotionally, psychologically. I could not just imagine what is going on through my child head at this moment. You know what I mean? All type of confusion is going on in her head right now. Then you say that you take my child from me because I didn't want to follow counseling. That counseling was not, she remember, it's not court order. It was never court order. It's not something that you ordered. So how you turn around to be punitive to me about something that you didn't order?
Right.
So that's the problem with Natalie Haskins. That's the problem with your decision. Everything that Laura Brooks and everybody else say, you went along with it. You went along with it. That's why I put the blame solely on her and the father. You as a judge, you're there to make right and just decision, fair decision. You could imagine what you put this child through. Even if I'm not going to the center, why should I pay to visit my child once a week at a center when she was used to coming to meet with me all the time? What grounds do you have that I'm psychologically abusing my child just because of hearsay? Because Laura Brooks say, Patricia Weird say, the garden malidum, and even though you have evidence that this child is being abused at the father's house. And even coming to talk about that, last year, June 2022, they opened a DFS case, some people say CPS case against me. You know, until now, I haven't received a letter from them stating that that case is closed. Now we're in January 30th, 2023. That case started in June 11th. They did the investigation and I never heard from DFS till in November of 2022. Right? Then I think was early this month, the DFS supervisor called me. She's just following up on me. Following up on me for what? Do you have a case on me? Do you have a case against me? Well, you don't need to contact me because you two coincide with them. And even though you have the videos that I presented to DFS with all the marks on her skin, you still went and testified in court saying that, you know, both homes is, this child is good to go in both homes. So what are you calling and ask me now? How I'm doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing great by the grace of God. And I'm telling you, they have given me so much strength, more than you could ever imagine. They have erupted a fire in me that make me praying more and more, that I'm going to constantly stay on my knees. It's like somebody shared with me yesterday. Even though a crayon is broken, it's still color beautifully. And I'm going to show them that I am going to still color beautifully. And I'm going to advocate well for my child. Because whenever done, that's my child. No matter you separate her from me, you cannot take that DNA from me. You cannot devalue. Doesn't matter what you say or you think or you feel about me. You cannot devalue the fact that I am her mother.
And
I am her mother.
Yes, and I think maybe they should ask the child how she's doing, because...
And I'm pretty sure nobody's asking her.
No.
I'm pretty sure nobody's asking her. I'm pretty sure nobody's following up with her. I'm pretty sure no doctor's following up with her. You know, since they have given him all of this power, custody is for you to make decisions, not for you to alienate anybody. He stopped me from talking to her. The daycare, little Einstein, he had them block all her pictures, the little activities that she's doing at the daycare. He had them block all of that out. But yet still, Thursday gone, they sent a message. I don't know if it's an accident or coincidence or what it is. That 7:02, I got a text message. She was still at the daycare. They did not get picked up.
Now,
and from the time this is going on, from January to now, they have been sending a lot of notice that he is going to pick her up late. So apparently, don't have nobody to help him pick her up on time, because they have been going minutes to 7. This daycare closed at 6 o'clock. I could imagine the workers there, because they have to go there early. Now they have to wait back till late in the night just for one child to be picked up. And next set of notes that they were sending, she was not completing her little homework packages, which I'm like, I'm not even bothered. I don't know why they're sending all these messages now. They weren't worried with all that stuff, because the thing is that I was working with my daughter and preparing her for kindergarten. And because when I used to work at the school, I had I was close with some of the teachers in the kindergarten, and I would collect work from them, and I would go, things that I know that she could handle and do. I would do it with her because I want her to be ready, fully ready and prepared. So when she go to school, she can handle herself. She can handle, she's above the work.
And now,
right?
In your case, every case is different. In your case, you should have full custody. I don't know why this judge is doing what she's doing, but I don't even know if she's aware of this letter that it was written to President Trump regarding family separation. This was back in June 8th of 2018. And in this letter, the American Academy of Pediatrics has condemned the policies of separating parents from their children, although they're doing it okay on American soil. But it says that highly stressful experiences like family separation can cause irreparable harm, disrupting a child's brain architecture and affecting his or her short and long-term health. This type of prolonged exposure to serious stress, known as toxic stress, can carry lifelong consequences for children. I don't know if Judge Natalie Haskins is aware of this.
She don't care. She don't care. She don't care. Our motive was just to punish me. Our motive was just to punish me because she feel that I have a big mouth. Yes, I have a big mouth. And I'm going to it's not a point of having a big mouth. It's because I know what they have done and what they're doing is wrong. It's totally wrong. I was given the opportunity through an attorney in New York. They had a Zoom class. Is only for attorneys. It's not for public. It's just for attorneys. A class that they do to maintain their license. It said dissecting child abuse and investigation. And the CAC, how they were formed and why they were formed and all of these things they break down. And I don't understand the way how they do investigation with CAC here with the kids in New York. Why is it different in Delaware? Why is it different in other states when they all was built for the same intent and purpose under the same umbrella? Why is it different from state to state? In New York, they said within 24 hours, they do an investigation, certain investigation of allegations and abuse. Look, months and months, 3-4 months pass. When I call and report something, they take to come to my house, if they come at all. But the minute the father call, they're there at the drop of a dime. They're there at the drop of a dime. And the next thing that is stressed on in this course, child statement. They don't value child statement like that. Even if the child make a statement to the pediatric, they have a second or third party make sure that they evaluate that child statement to make sure it's not something that is being coached. The child is not coached to tell the doctor that or anything. Like in one situation, my daughter was coached to tell the doctor after one of her visits that mommy says she don't like daddy. And all this other foolishness that they were going on with. And this was acceptable. Everything they write word for word. And they said that they then went off of those things that he said. Yes, they went off. Because why else would you take her from me? Because Laura Brooks said that I am mental, is Laura Brooks a psychologist? Because Patricia Ware said that I'm mental, is Patricia Ware as a psychologist? People must know how to stay in the lane. And that's the next thing that the judge, Honorable Humphrey, talk about. People need to stay in the lane. Stay in the lane. You're there as an attorney. You act in the capacity of an attorney. Don't come and acting as in the capacity of an attorney, a psychologist, a judge, like what Laura Brooks was doing, and Natalie Haskins and all of them. You're there as a capacity as a judge. You act as a judge. Act in the capacity of the role that you're assigned.
Well, that's very important you said that, because I was watching a case in Miami-Dade where an attorney who was a guardian ad litem for the child was acting in the capacity of a psychologist. And this has to stop.
Yes.
I think all third parties should be gone. There should not be any guardian ad litems.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because this one was a waste of time. Because what did you talk about? What did you what help did you offer my child? You're worrying about what I'm saying, and you forget everything that what you forget the evidence that she's been abused at the father house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I sorry that we didn't did on our podcast before, when I was talking about them cutting her hair. Okay, see my hair. I sorry we didn't do like little clips without showing her face. Okay, my hair is all the way to my ear.
Mm-hmm.
Her brother shaved her ear all over, from over ear all the way back to her head, was shaved clean out to the skin, both sides. He did all these zigzag stuff at the back of her hair where she had all these missing bald spots. Then in front here, all of this hair was missing, right? Even though they tried to comb her hair and different things, they keep cutting her hair. And she stated both the brother and the father was cutting her hair. Both the brother. You don't have nobody to cut it. The father, I guess he was shaving it up with a machine because it was frizzy at the corners. He didn't have nobody to comb her hair or brush it up. So it was easy for him to just take a machine and just take off the fringes and say that I'm braiding her hair tight and all of this nonsense. Can't imagine what's going on there.
Oh,
right?
I can't imagine.
And the next thing that I have mentioned, they weren't about the little stuff that he said, little stupidness that he make up, that I'm going to feed him to the coyote and all of that. I mentioned to Natalie Haskins, my daughter did mention to me, that same brother, that same troubled brother, hold my daughter upside down like this and beat her on her vagina, right? She said, Mommy, it hurts so bad. All of that you just went through the window. All of that went through the window. All of this evidence went through the window. But now you want to say that I'm mentally ill, that I have mental health. I just had a mental health evaluation done. But because it wasn't pleasing in the sight of Laura Brooks and it wasn't pleasing in the sight of Natalie Haskins, now you, in less than a year after, or a year after, you order again for me to have another mental health evaluation to do what? For what? To prove what?
Did the judge call you mentally ill?
Right? No, Laura Brooks did say
Laura Brooks. Okay, that's
yes,
okay.
Yes. They think something, and the judge said yes, she thinks something is wrong with the evaluation. Remind you, this is one a prominent doctor in Delaware that did my mental evaluation. So you see, they're not acting in the capacity. Now you want to say this lady don't know her work, right? She didn't do a good evaluation. So now you're going to order another mental health evaluation because you wasn't pleased. I was going to go right back to her. She's one of the top doctors, psychologists in Delaware. She have her own practice. You think the lady have time to bother with them and their nonsense? Huh? So I want, if Natalie Haskins, if you're checking on my child, she's been at a daycare from 6 or whatever time till whatever time at night. I almost text them when they text me at 7:02 when I saw the text. I said, I go to text the daycare and tell them, call the police. Call the police and let the police intervene. This is going on too long since you take her from me. So this is a struggle to pick her up.
So there's education neglect, physical abuse. I don't understand this judge's thought process.
And the next thing they talk about, I disparage the court by coming on this podcast. Let them look back at the action. They could let them sit back, put aside everything that they hear that I'm saying. Let them sit back to themselves and think about all the things that they have done. Even look, Laura Brooks, when we had court last year, June. She and my daughter's father stayed back in the judge's chamber right after the case for more than half an hour. Me and my aunt sit in the hallway and wait for them to come out to that chamber. We did not leave. I said, let me see how long they're going to stay in there. And we sat in the hallway. Let her go back and let Delaware Family Court go back and look at the cameras. Is that nothing I'm making up? Let them go back and view the cameras, how long they stay. And that was not the first time. There's more than one occasion that Laura Brooks stay back in there. Why are you staying back in the judge's chamber after case? Why? Let her go back and see how, even with the child support cases, even when we went to the commissioner for child support when he did not give me back my money, let them go back and see how long he was in the commissioner's chamber after that case. Let her go back and look at all the videos. So when the thing that this is going to go away, it's not going to go away. Because you have put in my child through a lot. Because I can't imagine she doing missing me. My daughter sleep with me like a koala bear.
Oh.
Everywhere she go, Mom is give me a piggyback ride. Even we went on the subway one time in New York. A woman tell her, she said, your mommy really love you because no mommy is carrying you on their back as much as my shoulder hurt.
I know. I know.
Because I have a bad shoulder, you know, and she's heavy.
Yeah. Oh, I
You know?
cannot imagine.
You just ripped this child from me. So you see that song that she sang to, it's a lot of emotions, going through her head. And now the problem is telling her that I don't want to talk to her, I don't want to do with her. But he stopped the phone calls. Natalie Haskins never ordered it anyway. And even if she'd ordered it, just like how they were canceling the Mother's Day and all of that stuff at free will, they would have done the same thing with the phone calls. It didn't even matter because Natalie Haskins didn't want to hear anything. Everything that he did wrong, she ready to cover. Remind you, this is the same judge that even with my Roku for the child support for her, just as child support, she denied both of them. She can't say that she wasn't biased. They have numerous things that I have written down where she was biased on more than one occasion. Even when the other was two different co-parenting. The first one with Laura Brooks choose when I didn't want to go there because Laura Brooks chose it. Because I asked her to change it. Natalie Haskins ordered that I am going to pay that co-parenting fee of $80 and my ex-husband only paid $20. And at that time, she very well knew that I was working. You tell me that decision is not biased? You're biased. You're biased. You're biased. You're biased. I work with this system. I know it. And you know, this course that I did with the lawyers in New York, I am telling you, it was such an eye-opener. And it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I was not shocked of how they do the investigations and how they operate. Certain things should be standard across state to state. It should not differ. It should not be a difference because it's New York, Maryland, whatever. Certain procedure should be the same when it comes to investigating children, the same that the questioning children. And remember too, when she was going to the CAC for investigation, that had the father taking her. So of course she was coached. The stuff that they were, even with the knife, the hunter's knife. Even with the hunt, Marianne, even with the hunter's knife, right? I had to Google what that knife was. I had to Google because I didn't know what it was. Right there and then you should know that this child is being coached to say things. All the things that mommy hate daddy and she don't love me and all of that stuff. You have to know when a child is coached. That's why they frown on of these statements in New York. They've really frowned on it. And the judge stressed on it. He stressed on it. And you know, and he talked about a lot about evidence. Respecting each other and having evidence. When you come, you bring your evidence. I have your support, whatever support, you have stuff to back up what you're saying, your evidence. You don't want nobody to come in his courtroom without no evidence. You just come in and say, oh, my client said this, or the child said this. He said he don't want it in his courtroom. He don't want it. He's telling you right now. I am telling you right now, I do not want that nonsense in my courtroom. A judge say that. A family court judge, he do not want that nonsense in his courtroom. So when you get the evidence, you make sure you get evidence, you get a doctor's note. You tell them, make sure you get a doctor's note if it's in a rape case, whatever. Make sure you get a doctor's note and everything. And another thing that I saw that they do in New York here, like for example, if a child bone break, make sure you get all the records from the orthopedic doctor, not a primary care physician. You make sure you get all the right specialists to fit whatever the evidence have to prove. Don't come and say this child bone was broken. Make sure you have an orthopedic doctor saying that child bone was broken. So why is it that you taking all my child words, everything that the father said to say is okay, but when I say that she said things to me, you dismiss it. Oh, I'm mental, or I'm thinking with her psychologically. My daughter complained numerous times. Her brothers, every time he passed her, somebody hit her in her head. He always hitting her in her head, kicking her. He's too big for that. He's 17. And the father vexed because I talk against it. People vex because, oh, he's just a child. She is my child. She is my child. You have no right to doing that to his sister. She is my child, and I'm going to speak. She's my child. He used to live with me. I never treat him like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never treat him like that. I treat him like my own.
Mm-hmm.
He tell a lot of lies on me, and that's okay. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, because nothing that they say will define me. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm glad I am this way. Nothing that they say or say about me, all the lies, I am not going to let that break me. I'm not going to let that define me, who I am. I know who I am. God know who I am. I am the daughter of the great I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, you see the Israelites, the same path that God opened for the Israelites to save the Israelites is the same path that drowned the Egyptians. This was going to happen to them. It's mentioned in the word. Yes, I forgive them, but the Bible say you would not escape from harming another person just like that. You would not escape it. And telling lies, all the lies you have told, you're not going to despise lies. And I believe that. I believe that. They have make me get closer and closer to prayers. I am telling you. And I would not come off my knees until my daughter come back to me. And even afterwards, I am not going to come off my knees for them. I mean it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean it. And I have the support of my church members. I'm telling you, they're praying with me every day. Every day we pray. Every single day they put up my daughter in prayers. Every single day.
Now, before we got on, before we were recording, we were talking about the book of Isaiah.
Yes, and Isaiah talk a lot about the punishment that the enemy is going to receive. It's not that you're wishing bad for them. It's written in Isaiah. It's written in Isaiah. God despises lies. He's going to destroy your enemies. He tell you the wrath of God is going to come down on them when they do evil. And people, and one of the pastors in two of the messages, one of it that said, hurt people, because the hurting never heals. You see, my ex-husband, his mom died when he was 10. So he never had that mother love continuously. He grew with the father. So he grew with a lot of anger and bitterness. And, like it's like the same hurt feeling that you feel, you want to apply to our child. Because there's no reason for you to do what you're doing. There's no reason for you to come to the court and drag me through the court to tell them that I'm this mother, I'm that mother, I'm that, right? When you went away and leave her at 2 months, you didn't thinking about all that stuff. And when he left, when she was 2 months, I only had $25 in my account, Marianne. $25. I still have that bank statement. He emptied my account, and I only had $25 with a newborn baby when he left. And you know what is funny? When we first went to court to start the custody process, Natalie Haskins was the judge. And when I said he walked out, went to work and never showed up back 2 days with the police, she said that's not abandonment. Delaware laws don't deal with abandonment.
What do they deal with in that?
Right?
If not abandonment, what are they? They're making it up as they go along.
Yes, there's so much opportunities that she had to stop this case, and she did not. And I was remembering before we did this podcast, I wrote 3 letters to the Supreme Court to have her removed from this case.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They said that my complaint was frivolous. She have to recuse herself, which she refused to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she feel like she had to prove a point with me. Whenever done, that's my child. I carry her for 9 months. She's not a toy. She's not a toy. I carry her for 9 months, and I'm going to speak up. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on alcohol. And I also was following this case, the immigrant school case. This case stood out to me because when they found this little child body, it was exactly my daughter's birthday, September 13, 2021. I think she's about the same age. I think she's about the same age as my daughter, a little older, maybe a year or two, maybe a year, right? Mm-hmm. This child was given back to her mom, who had a drug and alcohol problem. The mother ended up murdering, the mother and the stepfather, whoever, ended up murdering this child. Mutilate her body and bury her in a suitcase in the middle of a field.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not on drugs. I am not. You don't have no proof that I have no mental health problem. So why you refer mental health and why you take my child from me?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why couldn't I get that opportunity to get my child? Because of what? They're vindictive, they're evil, and they're gonna pay for it. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna pay for it. And I'm glad that I begin my healing process because it's important. It's important for us to heal. It's important. I'm happy that I'm healing. I'm not gonna hurt nobody because they hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna help people. I also started doing some missionary work. I went in women's shelter. And that's another thing. You're taking children from parents and you're putting them into these shelters are so overcrowded.
Oh, yes.
So overcrowded. So many children, my heart was like, oh, drop. And some of them moving from shelter to shelter to shelter because you can't find a home for them. This situation that you can resolve and let children stay in the home. Why are you ripping them from the parents and some of these homes where they could stay?
Mm-hmm.
Plus provided tools to help some of these parents so the children could stay with them. You're taking them from the parents and putting them in a shelter, and the shelters are so overcrowded, and you have them from shelter to shelter. I have one mother I was talking to. She came all the way from New Jersey to New York. Crazy. Because all the shelter what is filling in New Jersey, you send her all the way to New York.
And those shelters aren't safe.
Exactly.
I mean, some of them are. They want to be
They're
safe.
They're not. They're not safe. There's so much violence going on in those shelters. There's so much story of children being raped. They don't have food. They don't. Some of them don't even have proper clothing. Nothing. Like, why are you taking them out of some situation? Like, my child did not want enough anything. You take her out from the comfort of a home that she had every single thing. Any one of those workers, they come to my house. What my child had at my home, her father would not provide it for her.
Mm-hmm.
He never want to buy proper clothes for her. The whole of last year, even though you take her and you take me for child support, I had to end up buying proper winter boots, socks, and jacket and all of that stuff. He had somebody getting child support, had somebody give her a jacket. The jacket is 2 times her size. And have a lot of ball. I don't have a problem with her wearing something used, but let it be in good condition. Let it be her size.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yet still, you take this child from me to put her in what? Put her in what? And the daycare too was not just to my child, because even when she was 4, they moved them as they age. They moved them. When she reached 5, they said they had a 5-year-old class. They didn't have no 5-year-old class. Little Einstein did not have a 5-year-old class at the time when she turned 5. They had children who were 5, but they were going out to different school and they were coming back there for after school. They still had her tracing, and I told them over and over, you're not doing justice to her, because when it's time for her to go to kindergarten, she cannot trace anything. She have to know how to write. Even if she's writing the A bigger than what you want her to write, let her write it. She's going to learn how to write it smaller. Let her write. So yes, like I said, we taking kids and we're not thinking. We're not thinking about the effects that we have on the children. We're not thinking about the effects. Natalie Haskins could never say she sit down comfortable, because there's numerous things that I have that she's written that she didn't follow. Even look, when I went to court last June, I asked her 5 times for an attorney. Oh, I just want to get over this. And you went on doing cross-examination and all that stuff and even though I asked 5 times for an attorney, you didn't stop the case for me to get an attorney. Was no reason for you to carry on that case. No reason. My child was not in no detriment for that you had to carry on this case. When I asked for an attorney 5 times. That's why I'm going to keep this in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. I am going to keep this in the spotlight because, yes, I know that nobody went back and readjust what is going on with my daughter. She's not talking to me. She can't see me. She can't talk to my mother. She can't talk to my aunt. She can't talk to her cousins. She can't talk to nobody. You just blank her out from the world that she knows. Just because of what? Hatred?
Mm-hmm.
like I sit down and I said, what if father's being hateful for? Nobody never stopped him from seeing her when he walked out. I never disrupt his visit, never disrupt his phone call, none of that stuff, even though he accused me of doing all the above. But now you get custody, which is supposed to just make decision, not to isolate. Custody does not mean for you to isolate the other parent. And she didn't hesitate to give him sole custody. Natalie Haskins did not hesitate to give that father sole custody. But God blessed me with that womb. She got to remember, if God did not bless me with the fruit of the womb, he would not get a child for her to give sole custody to. You could, and there's so much young children. Look at little young child just commit suicide. There's so much things that affect children. Is she getting the counseling? Did she getting like anybody's what are they doing for her? I'm not gonna pay to go to no center when I'm not the one abusing her.
Right.
You have so much going on. And then the next thing, when you ignore the fact, when she first gave him temporary sole custody, when she asked him who's going to help look my daughter, his 80-year-old father and his 16-year-old niece. His father had so much ailment. And I said to her, I said, he have a lot of ailment. Oh, she's the judge. She's going to make the decision. That's not my place. The father died the following year. Nobody. It's still when I saw her hair, the way how her hair was shaven out to the scalp. I said, where is your grandfather? Then she lay down and showed me. I said, wait a minute, he dead? I said, I didn't know. Come to find out, he was dead. He died since the summer.
So essentially,
so at some point, that same brother that he claiming that wasn't at the house with her was at the house babysitting. Him and his friends was having a free-for-all with my daughter. So you could imagine now, they have sole custody. I'm not in the picture. You could imagine what's going on over there.
Oh, Marineka, I so wish a civil rights attorney was listening to this.
You know what is going on over there? And that's why it just like really behoove me. Why is it when it comes to certain investigation with children, why is it so different in New York? Why is it? And this course that I did, this was all the way through New York, the lawyers, the class that the attorney gave me access to. I only get access to this class because of an attorney. She was very nice to give me access to that class. And I really appreciate it. She gave me access. I learned a lot from those people. And this is New York State lawyers from state to all the way upstate New York, all the way throughout the New York City. All of those lawyers went on that stuff. And the way how they talk about presenting the case, the way how they talk about presenting the case, like what's really going on with those family court lawyers in Delaware? That thing they could play with kids as a joke.
Oh, but they can go back to their families at night and have a nice dinner.
Exactly. Mother's Day. They all had Mother's Day with the children. While you take my child away from me Mother's Day when you didn't have no reason to do it. No reason. Even one of the DFS worker asked me, did the father say why he asked me, did the father tell you why he canceled your Mother's Day? I said, no. I said, but it's court order. And he just watched at me and laugh. He just watched at me and laugh. But Natalie Haskins didn't want to address all none of those things. Laura Brooks, she talked about disparaging. Let she go back and look at all those things that they have done wrong. Let them sit within themselves. But I'm going to show them. I'm going to be that mother as a broken crayon that I'm going to sparkle and I'm going to shine and I'm going to continue to talk about the injustice and I'm going to continue to talk about what they have done wrong. Because I'm not just a typical mother. I went in the system. I work with this system. And I understand a lot about the laws and things that they have done. How many laws did they quote in even the orders that they write? How many laws did they quote of why did they take my child? Not now they probably quote was the last order she quote one. But all the other stuff that they write, they had no laws to back up what they did. None. None of those orders that Natalie Haskins wrote, whoever write them for her, they ain't quote no laws.
Mm.
And you all this here saying, he's saying, and your personal feelings. It doesn't matter if somebody speak up. Anybody in my position would be angry. Anybody in my position, not because somebody is upset or angry about a situation, they have anger problem. I have all right to be angry for what they did. This is my only child, and you did not do anything right. You did not do right by her. The decision was not fair by her, because all your decision was based on your personal opinion and your feelings about me.
Now, let me ask you this, because in the beginning, did the opposing attorney call out mental illness as soon as they got in there?
Yeah, she did keep saying it over and over, something is wrong with me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what happened to me. They all do this. Whoever shoots out that silver bullet of mental illness or parental alienation or whatever they wanna come up with, they win. That's just how the judge goes along with it, and I don't know why.
But you're suffering the children.
Yes.
Suffering the children. You cause a lot of damage to them mentally, emotionally. I could not begin to imagine how my child she's feeling right now. I could not begin to imagine. And I'm sure nobody's talking to her. You completely shut off her world, like she don't even have a mother. And I thought about the father. I said, you have so much hate in you. This child children is a gift from God. And if today, tomorrow, you want to take her from us, look in your hands. What is it that what is it? If you take her today or tomorrow from us, what is it that you're angry about? What is it that you're fighting about? What is it that you're so bitter about? What will left? Open your hands and look and see what will be left. What is there left for you to be so angry and bitter? But I'm telling you, we're living in perilous times. We're living in perilous and serious times today. People are so hateful. They're so vengeful. They have this barbaric mentality. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care if they hurt my child. They don't care if they hurt an infant. Because you know what? A lot of people today walk around with hurt feelings. Like the pastor said, the hurt never heals. The hurting hurt never heals. And a lot of these people, including my daughter, never heals. Never heal. Because for you to be so bitter that you can shut this child off and think that, oh, because you're the father, it's okay. It's okay. And who is these people around you? And women and even men, fathers, that you think that it's okay to support him and encourage him, that this child should not talk to her mother, should not talk to the mother family, should not have nothing to do with me. But you walk out when she was 2 months and you didn't have no time. All the doctor's appointment is I was doing it. Then you want to turn around and say that I shut you out of this and shut you out of that and shut you out of the other. And all the wickedness and evilness and corruption that Laura Brooks did for Rip My Child because you just want to say you win a case. Nobody is no winning here. Nobody win here. Nobody wins here.
Oh, nobody but she's getting paid either way. Whether she wins or loses, she gets paid.
But there's no winner because a child is suffering.
Exactly.
At the hands of our wickedness and evil deeds.
And you know what? She has to answer to God for that.
And that's why I keep saying Laura Brooks' case, you see all them nonsense where she Natalie Haskins was going on with. She case, I'm going to say it again. If they go back and look at the camera, how much time Laura Brooks sitting there, they need to remove her cases. I don't care if it's not, I don't care. It didn't have to do with my case. All of our cases belonging to other people needs to be removed from Natalie Haskins. That Laura Brooks is an attorney with. Send her to another judge. Send them to another judge.
Yes. And none of this should have happened to begin with.
Yes. I was asking my friend. He had a custody case in New York here. They had his case went on for a little bit. But it wasn't the same judge throughout the case. It was a male and a female. And you know what is ironic that I find in his case? When he got custody of his daughter, But he had a male judge, mind you, a male judge. And that man asked him, now that I'm going to give you a daughter, who is going to take care? A man, a male judge asked him, who is going to help you take care of this child? When you go on to work, who is going to pick her up from school? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? A male judge. Natalie Haskins is a female judge. And you didn't care if my daughter here was chipped out, shaved her skin, nothing. You didn't care, nothing. You didn't care to ask those questions just that one time. You know, afterwards, because she did mention it last year. Oh, I'm sorry, my condolence that your father died. But okay, your father died. Who's going to help you now? Because that's who I asked you, who's going to help. Now that he passed, who's going to help you?
Right. And they were also shaving her eyebrow as well.
Yes, 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 yes.
And that's okay with Judge Haskins, I guess.
Yes, that was okay. She didn't want to deal with none of that. She don't care about none of that. She don't care. She even mentioned she didn't care about my culture. I said, in my culture, they don't cut no little kids here. She didn't care about my culture. She did not care of my culture. She said it in court. She did not care about my culture.
You know, would you say she's racist?
She's biased because she's Black just like me. They don't want to say she's racist. She's biased, prejudice, evil, because you're sitting comfortable with the decision that you make. Does she think that I'm going to go anywhere? I work with the system. I work with the police. I see how they do investigation. This is something that they taught us how to do investigation. And the way that they're doing the investigation for the child, the CAC, and the way how they interview kids, they need to be retrained in Delaware. Because they could never say that they don't know. They didn't at some point that they did not know that my child was being coached. They can't say that they didn't know.
Right.
And if they said that they didn't know, they all need to be trained. The way how they handle this whole case, I am telling you, all of them need to be retrained. All of them. All of them. You see, when I was an officer, I'm a stickler for policy. I am a stickler for policy. Yes, they're going to say Bowman had a big mouth. But you see, when it comes to the policy, I am a stickler for policy.
Oh, I am too. I agree with you.
You can't set policy and then you don't let people follow it. You can't set policy as a guide for people to follow, and they feel they're making decisions as their free will. Judge have certain things that they have to follow. They're there for referee. They're not there to be nobody doctor. They're not there to psychologist. They're not there to assume nothing. Stay in your lane and let people get the evidence. Like Natalie Haskins referred to my package, and I still have a copy of it that I gave to her that she called it a pile. If she was an honest and fair judge, she'd take her time and look through that pile. But that pile is going to come back to haunt her. She better pray that pile don't come back to haunt her. Because right there and then I get pictures upon pictures of how my daughter here is being jibbed out. You know what is it for a child to sit down and have her hair thing for the thing? Like, now you have her confused. Am I a boy or am I a girl?
And they're installing poor self-esteem, which is not going to help her later.
Exactly. Am I a boy or am I a girl? You keep cutting my hair. You keep shaving my hair down to my scalp. You keep lining up my hair.
Shame on them.
And the father think that is okay because you want to protect your son. Yes, he's a brother. Yes, he was a son, but she's my child too. She's my child. I would never sit down as a mother and have nobody cutting his son hair like that.
And you have several people, including, well, the judge, the opposing attorney, the father. They are perpetuating the alienation. They are perpetuating this child abuse, child psychological abuse that's going on with your child.
Yes, and then the counselor lies about, oh, she had a case. She had the counselor, but oh, this child telling her, but she hates me and she don't want to be with me. Huh? You don't know the bond that I have with my child. She has no clue. You're just going off of what you hear and what the father tell you, and you formulate your own opinion about who you think I am. But you don't know me. You don't know me. You're not there to formulate nobody opinion about anybody. You come with the facts. Like the Honorable Humphrey said, come with the evidence and the facts. That's all I'm dealing with. And she lied to Christine Hines, lie in court and all about how she and say, but she had a next. I was always late for the counseling sessions, and she had a next client at 6 o'clock when she's trailing me and my child in her white Murano.
That's right. I remember you saying that. Yep.
So how are you going to be in office at 6 o'clock with the next client when you're following me and my child in your white Murano?
You know, that's gang stalking, I would say. That's gang stalking and harassment.
All of them lie. Yes. And even when I moved to my friend's house, they had people coming there in cars, just like what they was doing at my old address. And they follow my Facebook. And I tell you, somebody went in, changed my Facebook address, like from when I put it up the last time, my email address, changed my email address on my Facebook and my password and all sort of nonsense, you know, thing. But I had a phone with her father. So the only part, a phone, and I think at one point I didn't change my Apple ID. So he have access to that stuff. So I tell people now, do not get, especially with the ex-husband or your husband or your boyfriend, do not get phones with them. Do not get the same phone plans with them, because this is the results. This is the results. I don't care what they say, that I'm crazy or I'm mad. You still have to, if you feel that I'm crazy, I'm mad, whatever, you provide a service for me so I can be a mother to my child, not alienate me from my child, not alienate my child from me, that you just uproot her. She must just visit me from 1 hour to the center and go back home. Natalie Haskins would like anybody to do that to her grandchildren and her children. She like anybody to do that. But I'm telling you, I left them in the hands of God. I'm leaving them in the hands of God. And I'm telling you again, we have to heal. And I'm glad that I began my healing process. And I'm so thankful and grateful for my church. I am doing awesome. I miss my child, but the pain that the pain that I was feeling and the hurt, God tell me one day, I take this away from you. All I want you to do is encourage people, encourage other mothers to be strong. And that's what I'm going to do. I am going to take care of this situation. I am going to take care of this situation. Just the same way I take care of the Israelites, I am going to take care of you, my daughter. I'm going to take care of you. I'm telling you, my church is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome people.
I'm glad to hear that.
Awesome women. And they have a lot of lawyers in my church, a lot of judges in the church too. Awesome people. I am getting so much support. Without them, I would not be able to do it. And the strength of God. I'm telling you, without them, prayers, and forgiving, releasing them. I forgive Natalie Haskins, but that doesn't mean that she's going to escape from God. I forgive Laura Brooks and the father, because my healing have to begin. I'm not going to keep myself burdened with no anger and bitterness for nothing that they have done wrong. They have to pay for their own injustice.
Oh, yes. And God will deal with them.
I am not going to carry that burden for nobody.
Right.
I refuse in the name of Jesus to carry that burden for anyone. So this year, I'm not carrying no burden for them.
Right.
I am not carrying their burden. What the injustice they have done to me and my child, they are going to pay for it. Isaiah, they could go and read Isaiah, I think it was 38, 58. Let her go and read it. And you know, they said it too. Today, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but it's the principalities and rulers and wickedness in high places. Principalities and rulers. The devil is like a roaring lion. But you know, they get the next in Isaiah. No weapon formed against me will prosper. No weapon that formed against me will prosper. I'm covered with the blood of Jesus. And that's why I say, Mary, cover this line with the blood of Jesus. Like my pastor said Saturday, he said, when you have insurance only cover for certain things. But when you have God blood assurance, it covers everything. With the assurance of the blood that God has shed on Calvary for us, it covers everything. Covers everything. So,
I'm so glad I had you back on, and I will have you back on for another update as we go along in your case. I will also put your contact information in the podcast notes, but don't jump off. Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I am your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again here in the future with Marineka Bowman and other guests. Thank you for speaking out, Marineka.
You're welcome, Marianne, as always. Thank you.